Hi, I'm Catherine.
And I'm Gail, and welcome to Women Over 70 Aging Reimagined, our weekly podcast. Our signature is sharing stories of vital women 70 to 100 plus who shatter the myth that women become irrelevant as they age. We appreciate your support. Join the Aging Reimagined Circle at womenover70.com. Promote your book in Books by Women and invite us to speak to your organization.
And today we are thrilled to have Annie Korzen with us for a conversation. Annie finally made her career dreams come true in her 80s. At age 83, she is a TikTok sensation with scores of adoring fans who love her wit and her about life as an older woman and her wisdom of showing life as it should be lived. She uses humor to speak the truth about life's serious moments. Annie's theme song is "It Ain't Over Till It's Over," and she has much more to her credit than being a TikTok star. She was the recurring Doris Klumpus on Seinfeld. She has written humorous essays for NPR's Morning Edition, the New York Times, the LA Times, and has performed her solo shows on 3 continents. Annie is a Moth main stage storyteller, and she's currently offers workshops on storytelling and speech making, and she loves being a guest speaker. On a personal note, Annie's been married for 58 years to her Danish husband and has a grandson who is Black. Well, welcome, Annie, to Women Over 70, Aging Reimagined. We're delighted to have you with us. Now, you've written that, and I'm quoting, "Some people are overnight successes, and some people like me just have to keep doing it wrong until they get it right. And now I'm in my third act," end quote. Tell us about your third act.
Well, my third act is based on my past. I've been a writer, I've been an actress, I've done solo shows. I've had some small amounts of success in all those three things, but I always dreamed of finding a larger audience. I always felt I could connect with a large amount of people. And a young friend of mine suggested I do TikTok, which I thought was insane. I didn't think TikTok had any interest in people like me. And she insisted, and she produces it, she shoots them and edits them. She's 30 years old. And it turned out that she was right. I have found a huge, unexpected audience. And the thing that to me is most remarkable, when I get stopped on the street, which often happens now, the fans who stop me are like kids. They're high school and college kids. I don't quite understand it, but I'm not questioning it. I'm thrilled.
Now, this is on the street in Los Angeles, right, in California?
And in New York, when I went to New York, I got stopped as well.
And what do they say to you?
They say, "Oh, we love you so much." And then when I say, "Can you explain that? What is it? What is it?" And a lot of the words they will use, I don't quite understand. One word they use a lot is authentic. Now, everyone's authentic. I'm not sure what they mean by that. They say, "You're funny, you're fabulous, you're authentic." And I guess maybe what they're saying is, I tend to speak my mind. I'm very honest. I'm very open about what's good in my life and what's not so good in my life. I don't feel that that's such an exceptional thing to do, but it turns out that it is. And I don't, maybe you can understand that. I don't.
Well, I think you know how to tell a story.
Yes.
Yes. So say a little bit more about that.
I
About
do
how
that.
you go.
So storytelling is really where I come from. Storytelling now is a very hot literary form. I mean, if you think of David Sedaris, you think of Anne, she's so great. Why am I not? Huh? Yes.
Lamott?
Anne Lamott. I don't know about where you are. In LA, every night of the week there are spoken word shows, there's storytelling shows. And it is a form that's very comfortable for me. And I also teach it. I think people don't know the craft of storytelling well enough. If you've ever been to a funeral service, a memorial service, a wedding, I mean, during the speeches, I cringe. I just die because people don't understand what it is to tell a story. And that's my background. So I was able to take that skill and transform it into a 60 seconds or 3-minute TikTok.
Or 58 seconds, as so many of them were that I saw. of yours.
Well, in the beginning, it was. You had a 60-second. You're quite right. There was a 60-second limit. Then they changed it to 3 minutes. Now they're allowing 10 minutes, but I would rarely tell anything that long. I don't think TikTok is the platform for that.
Mm-hmm.
But when I teach storytelling, when I perform as a storyteller, my stories are generally around 10 minutes long.
Okay.
I've had to learn to compress.
Is there an arc to the storytelling? What are there elements that are always there?
There really is. And the storytelling, a story has to have the same arc that any good piece of writing has. It has to start with a character who has a flaw or a problem, and it has to follow them on their journey to deal with a problem, and it has to end with their solving the problem and learning something about themselves. What I generally say is a story is about a dramatic event that changed your life for the better. And it's a wonderful way to be heard. And I've heard some amazing stories, both from students and from, of course, my colleagues. I mean, plus it's a wonderful community. The storytelling community in Los Angeles is very close and very supportive. We go to each other's shows. We, laud each other. I've introduced a few people to the Moth. Of course, the Moth is the pinnacle.
Mm-hmm.
If you haven't gone onto their website, I think it's themoth.org, you'll hear the greatest storytellers in the world, actually.
I listen every week.
I do too.
I listen every week.
Me too.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, so you listen to the new? Okay. Sometimes I go back and I just listen to the old, and my exciting news right now is they just contacted me. They want to produce a second story with me, and I'm thrilled about that because that means I travel with them. That means we go to the main stage, we go to large venues, and that's where I'll get an audience. In LA, if I perform at a storytelling venue, we're lucky if there are 70 people in the small theater. When I travel with the Moth, we come into a city, and as soon as the event is announced, it is sold out, and that's usually a 1,500 or 2,000 seat house. So that's a big thrill for me, a big thrill.
Do you have your story topic already for this?
I have the topic, but they always rework it. It's a story I have told, actually. It's about when I gave birth to my child, I had a serious postpartum depression, quite serious, causing me to be hospitalized. And this happened in Denmark and then here. And so it's a very grim subject, but since I'm a humorist, I had to try and find the funny in it. And so that's what it's going to be about.
Uh-huh.
And that subject is as pertinent now as when I had my own. My son is almost 55.
Mm.
Women still get that postpartum thing, and no one knows how to deal with it properly.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
So you also, I think that you're very committed to changing people's minds about what it means to get old. And why is that important to you, and how do you approach that?
Well, first of all, it's important to me because I've been very hurt by the condescension and the false assumptions that people take. And I could be sitting with my husband in a restaurant, and the young waiter will say to him, "Would you like a cocktail, sir?" And then he'll turn to me and he'd say, "And how about you, young lady?" And I just want to slap him. And I think he means well. He doesn't know how insulting it is to call an older woman young lady. And I also, how shall I say it? I feel that my wisdom, our wisdom, is underestimated and unappreciated. And that's what's been amazing on this TikTok thing. The kids are coming to me and they're saying, they use the word wisdom a lot. They actually want to hear my opinions about things. My opinions about dating or marriage or parenting or relationships or thrifting or lifestyle. And I'm very gratified by that because I feel we really have something to offer. And for some reason in this country, we seem to think that only young people have the answers. And speaking of countries, I've mentioned my husband is Danish, okay?
Mhm.
That's a totally different thing in Denmark. It's not an ageist society like ours. In Denmark, if a 65-year-old man is suddenly single and is looking for female companionship, he will look for a 65-year-old woman. I mean, he wouldn't understand if he said to him, "Oh no, you should have a 30-year-old. You should have." He wouldn't get that. It would make no sense to him. Whereas here, it's kind of almost an unwritten law. But an older man, if he's single, he's going to look for a much younger woman.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. That is ageist, isn't it?
I think so.
Yes. Yeah.
So,
The younger people listen to you because you have this way of relating to them, of bringing it to their level, of making it of interest to them. They love a good story too.
they do love a good story, and they're not as closed-minded as I thought. Before I started doing this, I really hated young people. I considered them responsible for everything that was wrong in my life. I didn't feel good looking. And that's another thing. In my life and in my career, I've never thought of myself as a good-looking woman. And I will tell you, right now, if a casting call went out in Hollywood looking for an attractive older actress, I would never be submitted. I'm not what's considered attractive in Hollywood. I'm a character actress. And I've just accepted that about my life. Now, with TikTok, and I have a certain brand because I'm into vintage fashion. They notice what I wear. I kind of wear things that, anyway, they keep telling me how beautiful I am. I have never heard this in my life. This is the first time in my life that I've heard that I'm beautiful.
And do you believe it?
Huh?
Do you believe it? Do you feel
I'm
it?
going to. As a matter of fact, I was brave enough. It's very hot here in LA, and I don't want to have the air on. So I'm doing what I never would have done for the last 20 years. I would never have been seen in public in a sleeveless top. And then I thought, hey, I'm beautiful. I don't have to have perfectly muscular arms. I'm going to be comfortable, and I'm okay with it.
Great.
It's given me more courage to be myself. And if I want to wear socks with sandals, I do that. I think it's a fun look and it's very comfortable. And I wear kind of fun socks. I mean, I don't wear white socks and black shoes. I wear some, but I mean, how shall I say it? I feel freer to be comfortable, to be myself because of the validation I've gotten from this huge young audience.
Wow, that's amazing. When we talked a little earlier, you mentioned having your husband who's Danish, and you've spent time certainly in the United States and as well as in Denmark.
Yeah.
Are there other cultural differences, nuances that have been influential for you?
Well, I'll give you an example of something. Years ago, we were driving through Copenhagen. It was a huge billboard. And on the picture of the billboard was a white-haired couple, okay? They were in their 60s and 70s. They're topless, both of them. You only see them from the waist up. They're topless. He's standing behind her, and he has his hands covering her breasts. And the ad said, Veuve Clicquot. It's a very expensive champagne. Veuve Clicquot for those special moments. Now, can you imagine in this country any commercial or advertising showing an older couple engaged sexually to sell a product?
No,
When did that ever happen? Would it ever happen? Unless they were selling like Viagra or something. So that's another thing, that we assume that older people are not sexual in any way. And that is simply not true.
Do you talk about that?
Nursing homes, they'll tell you that they have trouble controlling the rampant sexuality that goes on in those assisted living.
That's right. Do you talk about that on TikTok? Is that one of your topics?
That's a good question. I don't know if I have. And I think I'll add it to my list.
I think, yes.
I think, thank you. I didn't think of that.
Mhm. Yeah.
It's certainly a topic that many of the women we talk with are in our age range. It's a topic of great interest, and we tend not to know how to talk about it. And so it takes a great deal of trust and being willing to be vulnerable to talk about our sexual interests and needs, and whether we're married or single or.
Right. Absolutely. And as a matter of fact, along the same lines, about being honest, about being older, because I'm in showbiz, I have never wanted people to know my real age, because I get cast much younger generally. I get cast like 10 years younger than my real age. And generally, age is a handicap in my profession. So I've never been honest about it. I don't lie about it, but I don't answer it. If I'm asked, I say, I don't like that question. Since the TikTok thing, I now proudly announce everywhere that I'm 83. I decided to wear it with a badge of honor.
Yes.
I'm not going to lie about it anymore.
Right.
So that also has freed me in some way. Now, again, in Denmark, I was always shocked. What they do in Denmark, if a notable person has a birthday, they will print the birthday in the paper, and they will print that person's age. And that includes older actresses, older models, older whatever. And I said to my family, you could never do that in America. That would almost be cause for a lawsuit that to print a celebrity's real age would be considered invasive, an invasion of privacy. And of course they do it in Denmark because no one cares about age in Denmark. It's not a bad thing.
Are there more plays about older people in Denmark, do you think, than there are here? I mean, here they're far and few between.
Plays? I don't know. Couldn't answer that because I don't follow the theater scene. I wonder. That's an interesting question. I don't know.
Because I would think you would be auditioning more for those kinds of plays. That subject matter. Here too, I think it's getting more. Yeah.
I think so.
Well, you're bringing up another subject. I know this wasn't on our list, but this is a real conversation. That's what happens. One thing I don't appreciate among Danish older women is that very few of them use makeup or wear interesting clothes or dye their hair or do their nails. They're not into vanity at all. And that, I think, is a mistake. I get depressed when I'm around them. I mean, in my mind, 50-year-old women in Denmark look 70 because they do nothing to glamorize themselves. I do like now in LA, of course, it can go way far the other way, where women have had so much work. They look like this. They can't, they're so stretched out. They can't move their face. But I do like the American thing is that as women grow older, they still shop, they still think about what they wear, they still do makeup, they still style their hair. I like that because I don't want to look like I'm ready, like I've given up. I want to look like I'm still a contender. So in that way, I prefer the American way.
Annie, one of the stereotypes about people as we get older is that we're really set in our ways, our attitudes. We don't change our mind. And when you and I talked, you gave a really powerful example from your personal life about your grandson. Would you mind sharing that?
Oh, okay. Well, yes. My son and his wife, they got married late. They got married at 40, and they were 45. They decided to adopt a baby, which I thought was ridiculous. And I thought it was too old to have a baby. They had a good life. And, I'm not one of those women who's dying to have grandchildren. I never cared about that. And as so often happens in this country, they were given a black baby. And I thought this is going to be a disaster because this kid is going to be black. He's going to be brought up Jewish. It's like a double whammy. He's going to have to deal with so many negatives in his life. And plus the challenges, and we would have to face the challenges of being a mixed race family. and who knows what that's going to entail. So I wasn't happy about any of it. Of course, you can guess the ending is my grandson happens to be the most beautiful, the brightest, the most talented child in the history of the universe.
Of course.
Needless to say, and he's the apple of my eye. He's now 8 and a half, and he and I have a lot in common. So one of my TikTok, by the way, my TikTok handle is A Korzen. My first initial, my last name, A Korzen, for anyone who wants to find me. And so I know when I'm with him, I see people looking at us in the street, and it's not necessarily an evil look. It's just curious, right? Because he and I don't look like we match. But of course, that's a falsity because we match in so many. We have the same humor, we have the same musical ear, we have all kinds of things in common. So we are a match. And I say in the TikTok, we are a match made in heaven.
Mm-hmm.
So yes, I did change my life about that. I changed my mind about
And
that.
your life.
Yes.
And
He changed your life.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah, for sure.
Well, what's next for you, Annie? Are you continuing to do what you're doing? Do you have
I'm
new?
doing what I'm doing. Everybody keeps asking if I'm making money at it. I'm making money in indirect ways. For example, my husband, who's actually a film producer, he's also an artist. He's done art all his life, and he's a wonderful artist. And my home is full of his work. Well, because of the TikToks, people are inquiring about the art, and he has been selling paintings all over the world. He sold to Denmark, but he sold to Puerto Rico, and he sold to Boston and New York and Charlotte, all over the country. And it's been a wonderful adventure for him. And his work is suddenly seen and appreciated. But of course, the big thing is that the next two steps that I want to accomplish are public appearances. And it just occurs to me this week, I should be going to the universities because that's where a lot of my fan base is.
Uh-huh.
So public appearances, so universities and women's groups, those two categories. And I've been waiting. My book has been with a couple of publishers who cannot decide. They keep saying, we're thinking about it. And I'm getting so tired of it. I'm thinking of self-publishing. And I don't know if that's the worst idea in the world or not, but I'm thinking about it because I got to get a book out. And here's the title.
Okay.
The title is Tales from the Mouth. Humor, wisdom, and complaints from an aging TikTok queen. Isn't that a good title?
That's a perfect title.
You do?
You know, I think there's no shame in self-publishing, because what I'm learning going through this publishing business is that you have much more control over your book, the layout, how it looks, what it's going to sell for, and there's just many people are going into self-publishing route.
Oh yeah.
So I would say don't wait around.
Well, I'm seriously considering it. Some people are saying don't, it's a waste of time. But the difference between me and them is I already have an audience.
You do.
I have a market.
Right.
Starters. And if I would do personal appearances, I would bring the book with me.
Exactly.
So I'm thinking in my case, it might not be a total waste of time.
I think it
I
would
think
be a
you
great
should
move.
do it.
You do?
Yes.
Mhm.
And also, the reason the publishers are hesitant is because there's some kind of, and I don't know if it's true, there's some kind of, how shall I say it? There's a feeling going around that TikTokers don't read books, that they don't buy books. But I'm not sure that's true. There's something called Book Talk, which has millions of viewers. And it's not for high-grade quality literary books, but my book is not a high-quality literary book. It's just a fun, hopefully well-written, humor book. So,
And you have a following that's not just TikTok also.
Right.
And so, yes, you have a great opportunity to move the book and to get speaking engagements around it and to, to be able to promote it. Yeah. Sounds
well,
good.
thanks for the encouragement because I'm sort of straddling the fence on that. Yeah.
Don't wait.
I want to say, I'm sorry, what were you saying?
I was only saying, do not wait. Time is of the essence.
Do that. Right.
Get it out there, maximize it.
I also, I wanted to speak on that. When people say, are you making money from it? Are you monetizing it? I'm a little uncomfortable with the question. I appreciate they're looking out for me. I get that. And I do want and need to make money from it. But I think what a lot of people don't understand about creative people is if there were no chance ever of my making a penny from it, I would still do it because I love communicating. I love sharing my thoughts and having those thoughts appreciated and validated. So this is totally, if nothing else, it's certainly a labor of love. And I like getting stopped on the street by my fans. And I like the comments when they write it. You're iconic. I wish I knew you. I wish you were my grandma. You're the best, blah, blah, blah. I'm an attention whore, as all performers are. So that in itself has been a payoff for me. Not all success can be measured in money. Am I right in that?
Yeah, well, Gail and I know that very well.
Yes, we do.
From our podcast.
Yeah.
Yeah. So self-publishing seems to fit with promoting yourself. That's what you're doing.
And so you would think it should, it kind of it's looking more and more like it makes sense.
Did you say the iconic TikTok queen? Is that what you're going to call it?
No, they call me, Tales from the Mouth, semicolon, or colon. I always forget which one. No, Tales from the Mouth, colon, humor, wisdom, and complaints from an aging TikTok queen.
Oh, yeah. Good.
Covers everything.
Yes, it does.
Covers everything, right? I was going to say humor, wisdom, and inspiration, but that sounds too icky. I got to have something a little edgier, even though I hope that my thoughts are inspiring in a lot of ways. That is also a hope of mine.
Yeah. Yeah.
Anything else, Annie? Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, nothing.
I was just wondering if there's anything else that you wanted to share with our audience before we have to close.
Oh, gee. Well, let's see. I said, contact me if you want workshops or private work on storytelling, or if you have a speech to give that you're not comfortable with that. But basically, I want to say, my Danish brother-in-law says that what I'm doing is showing people how to live a good life. This is the life you should lead. But I hope I'm doing that without preaching to them. My hope is if they see me with my Black friends, if they see me with my gay friends, if they see me with my transgender friends, and we don't talk about any of those issues, that they might think, oh, gee, look at that. That person seems nice. I never knew that, you know what I mean? That I might open some people up to looking at the world in a more open way than they did before. That's what I would like to accomplish.
Yeah.
It's a great legacy. Absolutely.
So thank you. Thank you so much. I'm just so delighted that you joined us.
Well, I always love talking about myself. That's what I do.
Oh, we're the right platform for you.
You're a terrific role model, Annie. Keep it up.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Yeah.